Hello guys, welcome back. In this lecture today we'll be talking about AWS EC2 instances. आज हम लोग है ना Windows का instance बनाएंगे. Okay? So I guess like in the previous lecture, आप में से जो लोगों ने previous lecture देखा है, in that lecture we had created a Linux instance. Okay? So today I'll show you how to launch a Windows instance in Amazon Web Services. Okay? And how to deal with this. ये हमारा आज का objective है. इजी टॉपिक है, ज्यादा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड नहीं है। और जो भी अमेजोन के लेटेस्ट अपडेट्स है अराउंड दिस टॉपिक, हम सारी चीजों को इस लेक्चर में कवर करेंगे। ओके, सो गाइज एज ऑलवेज लाइक हमें अगर EC2 इंस्टेंस लॉन्च करना है, वी हैव टू फाइंड द सर्विस ऑफ EC2। ओके, एंड इट इज ऑलवेज a good practice to look at which region, okay, are we going to launch an instance in. In our case, like हम लोग वर्जीनिया रीजन यूज करेंगे। I'm simply sticking to Virginia region, as you have seen in the previous practical also. I had used Virginia region. आज की भी practical में मैं Virginia region use कर रहा हूँ. The only reason is this is one of the cheapest option available. If you choose Tokyo, Tokyo will be a bit slightly expensive. तो अगर आपको cost को कम रखना है तो Virginia use करिए. But remember, in an enterprise environment, it will not be Virginia all the time. In an enterprise environment, you will have to use the region which is as per the design. अगर आपके यूजर्स किसी एरिया में, जैसे कि फॉर एग्जांपल योर यूजर्स आर इन मे बी लाइक यूरोप रीजन, तो शायद आपके ज्यादा यूजर अगर फ्रांस में, आप पेरिस रीजन यूज करोगे। अगर आपके यूजर ज्यादा इटली में हैं तो आप मिलान रीजन यूज करोगे। या फिर आप डिजाइन को फॉलो करोगे, आपकी डिजाइन एग्जैक्टली कौन से रीजन में आप इंस्टेंस बनाओगे, आपकी डिजाइन क्या कह रही है, अकॉर्डिंगली आप उस चीज को फॉलो करोगे। ठीक है, तो चीपेस्ट रीजन चूज करना बेस्ट ऑप्शन नहीं होता है हमेशा, क्योंकि यू डोंट वांट टू लॉन्च योर सर्वर्स इन अ रीजन विच इज अपार्ट, वेरी फार अवे फ्रॉम योर यूजर्स। ओके, तो आज हम लोग क्या करेंगे, हम लोग वर्जीनिया रीजन यूज करेंगे, एंड इन वर्जीनिया रीजन विल बी लॉन्चिंग आर EC2 इंस्टेंस। ओके, तो in this case what I am going to do, I am going to go here into instances. Actually यहाँ पे अगर आप notice करोगे ना, I do have already 3 instance created. ये मैं Ansible का एक लैब बनाया था, उस Ansible के लैब के instances है वर्जीनिया में। Okay, so I am going to use this region of North Virginia, and in this region I am going to launch a new instance. Okay, we'll be using this launch button to launch a new instance. We'll call it like Windows Server. Okay, I'll call it like Windows Server. Okay, and in this case I'm going to use Microsoft Windows as the manufacturer for my operating system, और इस लिस्ट में से आई एम गोइंग टू चूज वन ऑफ द सर्वर्स। अभी देखिए, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट विंडोज ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम में सब में इंटरेस्टिंग चीज ये है, अगर आप बेस देखते हो, इसका मतलब है कि दिस इज अ प्योर माइक्रोसॉफ्ट विंडोज सर्वर ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम विदाउट एनी एडिशंस और मॉडिफिकेशंस इनटू इट। कोर बेस मतलब दिस इज अ सर्वर कोर एनवायरनमेंट, मतलब यहाँ पे ना यू विल नॉट बी हैविंग एनी यूजर एक्सपीरियंस, जैसे यूजर इंटरफेस, स्टार्ट बटन, डेस्कटॉप, ये सब नहीं मिलेंगे आपको यहाँ पे। What you'll be having is a command line interface, and you will have to use PowerShell commands to interact with your server. So base edition has no additions, no additional softwares into it. Core base will only have a command line interface for your software, okay, for your operating system. Same is like if you want to go for an earlier version of Windows Server operating system, that is Server 2019 or Server 2016, accordingly you can see which option suits you well. I'm going to use Server 2022 base edition. Okay, so I've already set my operating system to Server 2022, and that to base edition. Means I will have a graphical interface of Windows Server 2022. Now, if you are going to run that operating system, it is a very bad choice if you select T2 Micro. T2 Micro simply gives you one virtual CPU and 1 GB of memory. So you get a very lesser configuration in terms of Windows operating system. हम जानते it is a very heavy operating system. Windows operating system को ज्यादा कैपेसिटी चाहिए with respect to your hardware. आप इतना कम कॉन्फ़िगरेशन लेकर अगर आप Windows operating system को रन करोगे तो बहुत ही जल्दी आपका सिस्टम क्रैश हो जाएगा या फिर लैग होगा। तो you can see a lot of problems in your operating system. There will be a lot of contention of resources. Applications may not work as expected. It's always a good practice instead of using this T2 micro to use a slightly larger system. I normally use is T2 medium. Okay. So if I'm going to do a class, I'll be using T2 medium. But in the case I'm going to use an enterprise server, I will identify the need of my application. What kind of application is going to run in my Windows operating system that is to be realized in the first place. In case I'm going to use an application that depends on my processor, I'll go for compute optimized instance. If in case my application is very heavily dependent on memory, I'll go for memory optimized instance. So depending on what kind of application you're running into your instance, okay, accordingly you can choose your instance size. T2 Medium provides you with 2 virtual CPU and 4 GB of memory. I'll use this operating system for my lab purpose. But to run an enterprise application, this will be a very small machine. This machine should give you problems. But anyway, for our testing reasons, that should be a good machine. Now, this machine, including the Windows operating system, should cost you 0.0644 USD. This should be something around like maybe like 5 or 7 rupees per hour. Let's verify this. If I just search for dollar to Indian rupees, okay, and if I just see this Windows based pricing on this computer will be 0.0644. So if I change this to 0.0644, so you can see its price is 5 rupees 38 paisa. Okay, so it's very cheap machine, but बहुत सस्ती है. 5 रुपए मतलब 5 साढ़े 5 रुपए मतलब काफी affordable system है. Okay, so I'll just close this tab and we'll be sticking to T2 medium instance. In order to use this instance, you have to use a key pair. I'll be sticking to AWS cert. This is the key pair that we have used in the previous lecture as well. When we launched a Linux instance, यही key pair मैंने use किया था. आज भी यही key pair मैं use करने वाला हूँ. ठीक है, I'll select it. Baki, I'm not going to change any kind of network settings, anything. Okay, everything looks good. And now we can launch our instance. So guys, launching a Windows instance was very simple, very easy. Very much like Linux, सिर्फ आपको Windows के थोड़े basics पता होने चाहिए. जैसे कि विंडोज में सर्वर कोर क्या होता है या फिर बेस एडिशन क्या होता है. ठीक है, बेस एडिशन का मतलब अमेजोन ने उसमें एसक्यूएल या कोई और एडिशनल सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करके उसे लाइक उसके जो ओरिजिनल विंडोज फ्लेवर को चेंज नहीं किया. ओके, anyway, we can view all the instances, and here our Windows instance should also be available in this list. Okay, so here we can see our Windows instance is running. As soon as you launch your instance, it's not a good practice to go to connect it. In order to connect an instance, you can choose it. Here you have a connect button. Linux में भी हमने इस बटन को यूज किया था, पर जब RDP क्लाइंट में जाते हैं तो हमें यहाँ पे क्रेडेंशियल्स वगैरह Linux जैसे दिख जाते हैं, जैसे यूजर नेम है. To obtain a password, we can click the button get password, and Microsoft should tell you, मतलब Amazon should tell you, Windows instance के लिए आपको कम से कम 4 मिनट वेट करना है. So guys, give your Windows instance a bit of time. Give it 5 minutes or 6 minutes, okay, to get settled, okay, and then you can connect to this instance. So I'll cancel out of here. Meanwhile, if I just cancel out of here, you'll be able to see your Windows server. If you select it, here you should see all the configurations on your Windows server. You can see its public IP address, its private IP address. If you want to find which operating system is running in that instance, you can scroll down and you can see over here. This is Windows Server 2022 English full edition, full है और बेस एडिशन है ये. ओके, कोई दूसरी मशीन को अगर मैं सिलेक्ट करूँ इस लिस्ट में से, जैसे कि नोट 2, मेरे पास एक मशीन है नोट 2. अगर मैं स्क्रॉल करूँ यहाँ नीचे, तो हियर यू कम टू रियलाइज दिस इज एन उबंटू इमेज. ओके, सो गाइज यहाँ पे ना AMI नेम में आपका ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम का डिस्क्रिप्शन आ ही जाता है. यू कैन वेरी इजिली फाइंड आउट कि विच एग्जैक्ट ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम यू आर यूजिंग. एनीवे, मैं विंडोज में जाऊंगा और विंडोज में जाकर फिर से कनेक्ट बटन पे क्लिक करूंगा. Under RDP client, we should be able to see your username, your public DNS name, and your password. Okay, so either you can use this public DNS name, which is resolvable on internet, or else like you can select your Windows machine and copy your public IP address. Once you have your public IP address, you can launch an application which is a default part of Windows operating system. It is called as remote desktop connection. Okay, so remote desktop connection is the application that you have to use to connect your Windows instance. Okay, so I'll click this, paste my public IP address into here. So देखिए, my public IP address was 245.224. The same IP I pasted here, and now I'm clicking connect option. Upon clicking connect button, it will ask you for username and its credentials. मतलब passwords के बारे में ये पूछ रहा है. तो what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my Windows Server 1, connect it under RDP client. You can copy your username, that is administrator, paste it over here, and for password you can click the button get password. Upon clicking this button, अभी वो 4 मिनट वेट करना है मिनिमम, नहीं बोल रहा है वो आपको, क्योंकि हो गया उसका टाइम, वो मशीन रेडी है. अभी AWS सर्ट का जो करस्पॉन्डिंग प्राइवेट की फाइल है, वो जहां कहीं भी आपको उसको अपलोड करना है. क्लिक अपलोड प्राइवेट की, go to my class directory, and we have seen, like, I have stored it over here. There is the PEM file. I'll select my PEM file and paste it over here. And after clicking decrypt password, my password is in front of me. So this is the default password for a Windows machine, which is like configured by Amazon. Okay, we'll go over here and we are going to paste our password here and then click OK. Upon clicking OK, now you can click yes, and now we should be able to see remote connection to our virtual machine. Okay, so we got remotely connected into our virtual machine of Windows. So guys, as we can see, like, we are now connected into our Windows virtual machine. अभी देखिए, the best practice, like, we all know the default username of a Windows machine if created in Amazon is administrator. Change कर लो उसको और password को, ठीक है? So basically, like, the first best practice that you have to follow is change your username and password. Okay, what you have to do for this is on your start button, right click and go to this option called um, computer management. Here you have an option called computer management. तो start button पे right click करना है, computer management में जाना है. Under computer management, okay, under computer management, guys, these softwares na, they take time. Okay, so when you are logging into your Windows system, give it a time. कभी कभी ये विंडोज सिस्टम स्टार्ट होने के बाद 5 मिनट 10 मिनट एक रिकमेंडेड टाइम है कि आप उस पर कुछ मत करो, लेट इट सेटल डाउन. सारे बैकएंड सर्विसेज या सारे डेमोन सर्विसेज, जो भी बोलना चाहो आप, वो सारे सेटल हो सके. ओके, once all of these things are settled, then like things will be very quick and fast for you. Okay, so under my local users and groups, here you have a directory called users. Under users we have administrator user, to which we'll right click and rename this and call it, like, maybe I'll give it my name, Aftab. Okay, and I'm going to reset its password. I'll right click here and I'm going to set a new password. Okay, proceed with this. So guys, I have configured in my password and then click OK. The password has been set. Okay, and click OK. So the first best practice on a Windows computer is set your credentials. Okay, change them. The default credentials should be changed. This is the first thing that you do on your AWS Linux instance. So once you changed it, so click on start button, go to this power button, and here you can disconnect. Okay, and cancel out of here. So once you have disconnected, the next time if you copy the public IP address, if you copy your public IP address and then you click on your start button, search for remote desktop, paste your public IP, which was already there, and then hit enter. It should ask you for username and password. Click more choices and use a different account. You have to call it like Aftab as the username and password. Okay, once you have configured it, click OK. And very quickly, you should be able to get a minute. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so upon correctly typing in your password, there exactly was एक मेरा जो key है that was not working. So after hitting it hard, it started working, and then click yes. So once you punched in your username and password, then next time when you log in, you can log in with your changed username and password. Okay? So that is the first best practice that you can follow. Change your username and password. Okay? After doing this on your server, start your server manager. Abhi, sometimes it is always a best practice to restart your server. Okay? Because server manager sometimes fails when you start your server for the first time. Okay, so if we wait here for some time, it is going to get refresh and there will be an error. ये refresh failed बता रहा है, automatic refresh has failed for some reason. So it is always a best practice कि आप server manager को restart करो. Okay, या फिर पूरे server को restart करो. So for the first time when your server is not under any kind of load, nothing is configured on your server, no services are running. Okay, so it is a best practice, click on your start button. Okay, power down your server, power, and then restart, and then continue this. So guys, we'll wait for 5 minutes for this server to shut down and restart again. Okay, okay. So we'll wait just for 5 minutes. चलिए ठीक है. So guys, our we can see like हम लोग 5 मिनट दे चुके हैं, हमारा सर्वर रिस्टार्ट हो चुका होगा. Okay, what you have to do is on your on your AWS EC2, select your server, do a refresh. ठीक है, and whatever, if the public IP has changed, okay, copy whatever is your new public IP. जो भी new public IP है वो copy करो. In our case the public IP has not changed. Paste it over here. Okay, hit enter, type in your credentials. In our case we'll be going to more choices, use a different account, we'll be using the name Aftab and the password over here, and then hit enter. ठीक है, so after punching in your credentials you should be able to log in into your virtual server. So guys, we are able to now log in into our server. Okay, And this time, if I take you to my server manager, there should be absolutely no problem in my server manager being refreshed. So what I can do is I can click my start button, and there I can go on to server manager, and very quickly, like we should be able to see server manager should complete the refreshing of the entire server status very smoothly without any problem. तो याद रखिए, whenever like you are going to use Windows Server operating system, the first time you log into your Windows Server, whether it be just not AWS, it be Azure, GCP, any other platform, or a real physical server. After setting up your credentials, when you log in for the first time into your server, this server manager is going to crash. You have to restart your server. Okay, and after restarting your server, things should run smoothly. Okay, now the server manager, you can see, is being refreshed. Some of the services are not working, but in some time these services should show up as running services. Okay, so मेरा server manager का refreshing process complete हो गया. Everything looks good. Okay, there are no tasks pending, there is nothing like refresh failed, कुछ नहीं है. Under my local server, you can see you can change your configuration, such as the name of your computer. If you want to join this server into a domain, you can join it. You can change the IP settings. You can configure the time zone settings and other important things as well. You can configure the update settings for the server. So a lot of things can be done. But from here, you can see some important things. The special most important thing is under the hood, the hardware information. You can see it is using Zen server, Citrix ka Zen server. In one of my previous lectures, I have told you about EC2. In EC2, the hypervisor is either EC2, Amazon's EC2 Nitro system, or either Zen server. So this is a Zen system based physical server. The other thing is under processor, you can see we are having an Intel Xeon processor E5 2676 series. We are having 4 GB RAM, 30 GB of hard disk space, and later on in one of the lectures, we'll be talking about virtual hard disk in Amazon, also known as elastic block stock. तो हम लोग आगे बात करेंगे इन सब चीजों के ऊपर. Okay. For now, like we are prepared with this server, and anything we want to install, we are ready to install on this server. So guys, it is as simple as this. इट इज इतना सिंपल है कि आप बहुत इजीली आप अपने वर्चुअल सर्वर्स AWS में क्रिएट कर सकते हो, और इन सर्वर्स में लॉग इन करके आप जो चाहे वो कर सकते हो. ठीक है, आपको सॉफ्टवेयर इंस्टॉल करना है, आपको वेबसाइट होस्ट करनी है, वॉट एवर इट बी, आप आसानी से कर सकते हो. द लास्ट थिंग आई वॉन्टेड टू शो यू इज हाउ टू कॉपी डेटा इन टू दिस सर्वर. So let's imagine you have some files on your local computer and you want to copy it here. In documents folder, let's say we want to copy this. So it is as simple as we can minimize this machine here. On my actual laptop, I'll go to my C partition and just imagine like I have some files over here. Okay, under downloads, I have files over here. Okay, so for example, I want to copy this. JDK का setup है. I want to copy this file into my virtual machine. I'll just do a right click and copy button over here. Copy button click करूंगा, and inside my virtual machine I will right click and paste it over here. That's simple. So remote desktop allows you to copy your file to your clipboard, and from the clipboard it allows you to copy it inside your virtual machine. So guys, if it is going to be a large file, it is going to take time because the internet that I'm using is very slow. The internet configuration on my which I'm currently using is a packet data internet, and it is slow internet. For now, like I'm canceling this, I'll copy another file. So if I minimize this and if I select a slightly lesser size file, for example, let's say so guys, I'm going to copy this file. This is just a 2 MB file. I'll copy this. I'm pressing Control C on my laptop, and if I go into my virtual machine and if I paste Control V over here, that should be simply sufficient to copy my file over here. Okay, so here we can see Chrome ka setup file is getting copied into my virtual machine in Virginia region in AWS. So Chrome was a small software ना, इसके लिए जल्दी copy हो रहा है. Okay, so guys, this is all about AWS Windows EC2 instance. Okay, तो बहुत simple है. If you have ever done a remote desktop to any EC2 instance, the same thing we have done to this Windows machine as well. Okay. So guys, remember this is as simple as your local infrastructure. Okay. So guys, this was the objective of today's class. अगर आपको कोई feedbacks देने हैं तो you can go to the comment section, give us some any feedback of your choice. अगर आपको कोई रिक्वेस्ट डालनी है कि कोई टॉपिक हम आपको कवर करके दे तो यू कैन गो टू द कमेंट सेक्शन एंड पुट योर रिक्वेस्ट अकॉर्डिंगली विल बी डूइंग दोस टॉपिक्स फॉर यू ठीक है so guys this was a very small lecture most of the things we had covered in the previous lecture and this is as updated as May 2024 ठीक है so if you're creating virtual machines anywhere up to like 5-6 months in future from now, so the process should be very much the same. Okay. Maybe after that the thing may continue to be same or it may change. Okay. So finally, guys, as my always I tell you, once you are done with this entire installation and entire creation process, there is one important thing. If it is not your production environment, if it is your private account, right click your instance and terminate it. Okay. If the instances you're using for your projects or something else, for example, I'm going to use this Ansible machine for some of my testing purpose. So I'm not going to change it. Okay. I will just let it be when I want to start it, I can start it. As of now, my Ansible servers are stop state and the Windows server that I've created is shutting down and in some time it will get terminated. Okay. So guys, this was all about AWS EC2 instances. Okay. So we have covered both the instances, Linux as well as Windows. In the upcoming lecture, we'll be talking about something around EC2. One more new topic we'll be talking in tomorrow's class. Okay. Chalo. We'll end here and I hope you'll give me suggestions, feedbacks on the same. Good day, guys. Bye, everyone.